What is going on, YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BSN podcast, and today, episode 53, as always, with my boy Andrew. And my gosh, we got a lot to discuss. As always, I say that every weekend because when you live in Cleveland and you have Cleveland sports going on, there's always something to talk about. There is always some spicy shit going on. And luckily, it's not all bad, which we're going to start with the good right now. And that is our lovely Cleveland Guardians. They are playing outstanding right now. We have officially clinched not only the Central Division, we've also clinched a first-round bye, which means no wild card games or anything for us. We start in the divisional round, which is great. And currently, we could potentially also be getting the number one seed in the AL in general. So yeah, a lot to discuss there, and then obviously we'll get into our Browns stuff in a little bit. But first off, Andrew, my friend, how are you doing today? As I said, it's been a wild week, of course, in Cleveland, and it never seems to not be just a chill week for us in the sports world.
I mean, you have to love it, don't you? Because at least there's always something to discuss and to talk about. But we're like a high school girls' locker room. There's always some drama. Like there's always some shit going on.
Literally, dude.
There's always tea to spill in the great city of Cleveland sports. So it's never a dull moment, and I'd rather be like that because it's never a dull moment, and there's always something to talk about. There's always something to laugh at. There's always something to get pissed off about. I was laughing, and I'm sure we're going to delve into this later, but I was laughing at Amari Cooper's comments to the media today, saying the media never has any good questions to ask, and that shit made me fucking laugh because he never says shit like that.
Fucking real too. Like he's definitely speaking some facts there, but it is funny. Yeah, it's there's always stuff to talk about. There's always stuff to discuss. Obviously, yesterday we had some stuff said both by Watson, Atkins, Ken Dorsey, even like we've had some lovely quotes. But again, we're going to start with our Guardians because they need their flowers here. They, after having that little rough patch, so we haven't really talked about them since, but I'll tell you what, Guardians have been winning. Guys are starting to come and play very, very well. And, like Jose, he's in the running for that 40-40-40 year. And that's insane. Especially after you see Ohtani doing the 50-50, which is another worldly thing to do as well. But Jose is playing great again, too. We just got Stephen Kwan back last night, who literally led off with a home run. So he is back in the swing of things. It looks like he looks a lot more rejuvenated. I think he needed that break for his body. And overall, the guys are just playing well. Pitching has been outstanding for us again. And the team is just, they're riding a high right now. And they're getting hot at a good time. And we have said this quite a few times on this podcast. When it comes to baseball, you just have to start getting hot at the right time. And when you get hot at the end of September, that's what matters because it can carry into the division. The only thing that's going to stink is having a few days off. But it might actually do us good just with how long the season is. It's nice to get guys some rest. And, but overall, I mean, they clinched a division, which I think was pretty much a lock for us. I mean, I know it got a little rocky there at first with the Twins and the Royals, but we've grown our lead. I think it's like 7 games or something. I can look right now. Yeah, 7 games between the Royals and now the Tigers. The Twins are 9.5 games out. They are probably not going to even make the playoffs now after being right there with us. So the AL Central locked. Now we have a first round bye locked, which we just did a few days ago. Mm-hmm. And we have one more series, and it's playoff time. And Andrew, I just want to get your thoughts too on just the overall feeling. You go to games pretty much as many times as you can. I mean, you've probably gone to damn near every home game this year. What's the feeling like right now going to these games and being able to see them pull out wins, even late when you're getting guys like, Manzardo hitting a 2-run bomb in the 8th inning, to give us a lead and give us the win. Like, just seeing that stuff, the feel right now in Progressive Field has got to be awesome.
Yeah, no, the atmosphere has been electric too over the last couple weeks in the stadium. I mean, going to the games, the stadium is starting to get more and more full, and obviously, we have our last weekend series this weekend, our last series of the regular season against Houston, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is probably going to all be sold out because they've dropped tickets to $12 to sell as many as they can. So if you haven't already, get your tickets. I mean, tickets are going to be $12 all weekend. Essentially, it's packing Progressive Field, so Progressive Field is going to be insanely fucking busy, insanely packed, and it's just been the atmosphere, man. I know I missed a couple of games on vacation, but coming back like yesterday and Wednesday, or excuse me, yesterday and Tuesday for the Red Series, even though the game started at 6:40 and it looked like the place was dead, all you had to do was wait until like 7 o'clock, 7:30, when people got to the stadium after getting off of work, and the stadium was damn near at capacity, and it really shows like how much this team or the city loves this team and how much this team means to the city and what they've done all season long. I mean, August was probably the scariest time for the season because the Twins, the Royals, and all that were a game back, and they were inching closer and closer to overtaking. And I think the Twins overtook for like a day, and the Royals overtook for a day, and then the Guardians found footing again. And like you said, I think the needed rest for Stephen Kwan was amazing. It rejuvenated him. I mean, he literally got a first home run in his first at bat the other night, and the crowd just went absolutely berserk. And it felt good to have Kwan back. It felt good to see another 2-hit performance from him. And like you said, I know it's going to be a couple days until we play in the postseason, but there are definitely guys who have injuries that are lagging from the entire season, like Josh Naylor and a couple other guys. And I think these few days of rest are very much needed for those guys, so that way we can be fully rested, fully healthy for the playoffs. I mean, we've talked that Alex Cobb is going to throw some simulation games this weekend, so Cobb will be back for the postseason, which would be nice to have. And we figured that those are going to be the three pitchers. It's going to be Cobb, Boyd, and Bybee. So all three of them are going to be throwing simulation games up until day one of the ALDS. So that way they're hot and they're ready to go and they're still in form and they're not, overly rested and they're ready to go. But what a time to be a Cleveland fan when the Browns are fucking everything up and stinking it up. The Guardians have come in and saved the day and made us all feel good and made us forget the horribleness going on the lake right now. So the Guardians are the main focus for Cleveland right now, and playoff baseball is back, man. We got a first round bye. We locked up the Central. We have
pretty much home field advantage too at this point.
We have home field advantage unless we were to play the Yankees in the ALCS.
Yep.
But we have a home field advantage. If we lock up first place, we definitely have home field advantage for the entirety of the playoffs, which would be even better.
Oh yeah.
So it's a great time to be a Cleveland fan, especially when at the beginning of the season everyone counted us out. Everyone had us in fourth place out of 5 in the Central, and everyone had us third, fourth, and the Guardians said, yeah, no, hold my beer. We're going to go rock this shit. We're going to be one of the best teams in baseball. And they're literally 3 games away from having one of the best records in baseball, which is beyond me. Like, I never thought that this would be this kind of season where we'd be a few games away from being the best team in the league with a rookie manager.
Yeah. And, even hearing some of his quotes over the last week of just, with all of these wins and stuff, you can just tell how much it means to him and how much it means to this team. And it's really nice to see the group really getting like very, very tight. And they've been tight all year long, but it's good to see that stuff because it makes you realize that like it's definitely more than just a game for them, and they know what's at stake. They know, how much the fan base loves. When we have playoff baseball or just playoff games in general. I mean, we're gonna have the Cavs here soon, and
Yep.
you know, Cleveland is gonna be popping again because sports are where we bleed for. Like it's literally what we live for, honestly, around here. And anytime you get a chance to get a playoff run like this, it's going to be fun. And, the season overall has been very, up and down. But as I've said time and time and time again about baseball, it is such a long season that you can't get too high or too low. It happens, things get weird, but the way that the pitching staff is going, the way that everybody's hitting the ball, the way that some guys have really stepped in and really, made themselves an intricate part of the team. It's so great to see. And I think you couldn't get that with a Tito, unfortunately. I think, as good of a manager as he wasn't able to let some of these young talented guys that we had come up and be able to make a name for themselves. And you're seeing guys like, Martinez, Manzardo, Schneeman, guys have really stepped in this year and really done well. And there's plenty more. David Fry. There's plenty of guys that have come up and just made their impact. They've had their moments. Even guys like Rocchio, like he struggled all year long and he's been playing so much better. And then you still have your vets where Jose Jimenez, and now even Quan, I guess you could say, is a vet. Josh Naylor is a vet. These guys are all just riding a lovely high, and I'm really excited to see what this team does. And I really hope that they really take this playoff run seriously, because I think in the past we've had some playoff, series that just we should have won or could have won, and they didn't have it in them. And I don't know if it was a lack of leadership with coaching or what. That could very well be the difference. We will see, but I think Vogue is just a very likable guy in the in the locker room, and I think that helps with a young team like this. I think the guards got this right with him.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And the one thing I want to say about Vogt too is the fact that his coaching style is obviously the complete opposite of what Terry Francona's style was. Tito was the old style manager. He was the in your face, like, you're not going to disrespect me. I'll fucking beat you down if you disrespect me. And he was also the guy to always go to an umpire and scream in his face every day. And that's what we loved about Tito, was that he was not afraid to just gun after people, and especially gun after the players in the locker room for poor performances and whatnot. But I think the one thing that I absolutely love about Stephen Vogt is the fact that it's different now. He's gotten ejected one time this entire year. He's wanted to argue with the umpires maybe twice, and they weren't really even arguments too, because he had one argument that was his ejection. The other argument was just him kind of like going up to the umpire and be like, "So what did you see? Was it okay?" And then going back to the dugout. Like, I think the Stephen Vogt route is good for this kind of group, because he's also just allowing the players to just be themselves, to express themselves, and to play the game that they know how to play it. He's probably telling them, like, play like you would if it's Little League all over again. Just go out there and just have a blast. Like, don't worry about fundamentals. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. Just play the game like you would in a Little League game or in your backyard with your friends. Like, this game is meant to be fun. This is why you play the game, because it was fun as a kid. And I think that's the memo he's been giving all year, is just play the game like it's fun again, like you're a kid again. And I think it's really elevated a lot of these players to where they're just more, you can see they're more relaxed, they're more loose. They're swinging more freely. They swing like I do in MLB The Show. They just swing at fucking everything apparently now. But these guys are playing the game well now, and it makes me so excited, because, like you said, we had the playoffs in 2022 where we swept the Rays in the wild card 2-0 like it was no big deal, and then we played the Yankees and we took them to all 5 games, which I didn't think we were going to do that, period. I thought we were probably going to get swept in that series. I was like, all right, cool, we had our fun in the playoffs against Tampa Bay. We're going to get swept now by the Yankees, because, again, we still had injury problems with our pitching staff. We still had injuries across the board. We still had to worry about Miles Straw playing because goddamn fucking Miles Straw playing. But the thing is now is that's not the case anymore. The case is more freelance, it's free flowing. The guys are in the fucking dugout playing Mario Kart day in and day out with Jose, and apparently Jose's the goat at Mario Kart. But this is what you like to see. It's just they're grown adults just being kids again.
Yeah.
Austin Hedges is out there fucking shotgunning Red Bulls and throwing them at Sandy Alamar's head.
Yeah.
like
Apparently he's been like a huge guy for us in the locker room, which is
Yeah.
again it's key, and I think that's something that the Browns
leadership.
are missing a little bit.
Is that better leadership? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just when you have a guy like that is serious but can also make light of everything and keep the locker room loose. It helps. It helps when the season is that long and that brutal. So it's a great thing to see, man. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I really like that. And I don't know about you and how you feel, but going into the postseason, I really feel like I'm not afraid of any team. Like, I'm not going into any game thinking we're going to get killed in this game. I think in every game we're going to play in this postseason, I think we have a great chance of winning. And I think we have a great chance in winning the series. Like I do not fear any team in this playoffs, and I think this is probably the year to make it all the way. I think this is the time because even the Dodgers have been struggling a lot too. There's no clear-cut winner this year, so that's how I feel. Also, too, I did want to make this point before I handed it off back to you. Why the fuck is Jose Ramirez not in the conversation for AL MVP? Like, I get it. Judge has smoked almost 60 home runs again for the second time in his career. And you have guys like Brent Rooker doing great things for Oakland and whatnot. But Jose's the only one in the American League going for a 40 for 40 season. Ohtani is the first in MLB history to go 50 for 50. And obviously, he's going to win NL MVP.
Yeah.
But then the only other one who's even close to doing that is Jose, and he's going to have a 40 for 40 season if he hits 2 more home runs in the series against Houston. Why the fuck is he not even close or being mentioned for AL MVP? I'd rather have 40 for 40 over 60 home runs.
Yeah.
As especially, the
MVP. And especially when you know that Judge strikes out a lot. Like if he's not hitting a home run, he's striking out.
He struck out. I actually want to see this because I saw this the other day. I think he's almost at 200 strikeouts this year.
That's brutal.
And it would be I think it's the third time in his MLB career.
Yeah, already. Because he's known for that. Like he's known to whiff so much.
Let's see. So this year, he's at 57 home runs, 140 RBIs, which is great. He's also had 130 walks, too, which is actually incredible. But then you start looking at strikeouts. He's almost at 170 strikeouts. And he's averaging, at 162 game average, he averages about 197 strikeouts in a season. So
yeah, that's
197. Yeah. That's your rating, and that's your AL MVP is a guy who strikes out almost 195 times a year, just because he smoked almost 60 home runs for a second time in his MLB career. Sorry, but give me the guy who's going 40 for 40, 40 stolen bases, 40 home runs. That's more impressive.
Yeah, it's I think the only reason why we're not really talking about Jose getting into the MVP conversation, it's because we're a smaller market.
Yeah,
I literally think that's it. Even same with Clase being being in the Cy Young, conversation as well.
The front runner for Cy Young is Tarek Skubal from Detroit, so it's another small market team.
Yeah.
They just don't want him to be it because he's a closer.
Yeah, which is wild because he has almost 50 saves on the year. He's got the lowest ERA of any closer, and it's not even close in the MLB.
Yeah,
and yet he's not even being a part of it, and it's mind-boggling me. But again, you know what? That's fine. I love the like even being one of the top teams in the league. I like being the underdog here. I love it. I love having all these guys still with the chip on their shoulder. It's my favorite. It's the Cleveland way anyway.
Well, what's funny too is when we see the playoff, whether we're facing Houston, Detroit, Baltimore, whatever, Kansas City, I already know the odds makers and the media are going to make us the underdogs in those games. Like Kansas City hasn't been in the playoffs since they won the World Series in 2015. And they're going to be like, oh, Kansas City's just 10 times better. We're going to play Baltimore. Yeah. Oh, Baltimore made the playoffs for the first time last year since like 2012 or whatever. But Baltimore's going to smoke the fuck out of the Guardians. 4-0, 3-0, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, give me that every single day of the week because that's going to drive this team to just sweep every team they see in the playoffs and just go to the World Series and be like, oh, the Dodgers? Yeah, we're going to sweep your asses too. And we're just going to fucking mop. Like, that would be the bittersweet to the end of the year is if the Guardians swept the entire postseason, including the World Series, and just said, you counted us in the underdogs, so we just swept everyone. Are we underdogs now? Is our tail between our legs? Are we just pussies now? Like, I just like the underdog mentality, and I think this is what's going to push this team over the edge this year.
Absolutely, and so that's why I'm just excited about the playoffs because again, even being one of the top seeds, I don't think there's a lot of media guys that are going to be picking us to even get past the ALCS. You're going to have
there'll be a few that will.
I mean, there might be, but like you're going to see Yankees, even Baltimore. You're going to see just the main top 3 or 4 teams getting picked, and even though the Guardians are that, not everybody has trusted our starting guys really until now, and I think that's what's putting us over the edge because the hitting's always been there, and now it's even more apparent because we have the right guys playing.
Yep.
And I think it's a beautiful time to get hot, so I'm excited to see what they do, but I do want to move over to Browns because there's plenty of us to discuss. Unfortunately, yeah, the Boo Birds are out. You were at the game this weekend, so just give me your thoughts on what you were seeing live, and really get into who are we sort of blaming here for this early struggle. It's only 3 games. It's not like it's end of the world. That there's plenty of stuff to clean up, but it's not the end of the world. But where are you placing blame? Obviously, it's going to be in more than one spot, but, what did Sunday look for you as a bystander there in those stands?
So, defensive-wise, obviously the first half we struggled a lot. But, again, the second half, we came alive. We made plays and stuff like that. So, defense is not really my main concern right now. I would like the defense to show up in the first half if they can, and not only the second half. So I think Jim Schwartz is probably going to get on their asses about that. But where I'm placing the blame, because all I'm seeing is everyone placing the blame on Deshaun Watson, and the blame can't just go solely on Deshaun Watson because he can only do so much with what's going on, and he can only do so much with what he has. So the blame is going to the entire offense. It's going to the O-line. It's going to the QB. It's going to the receivers. It's going to the coaching staff as well. Because what I saw was the offense just looks incredibly lost. Like, it looks like no one knows what's going on. No one knows, like, it's almost looking like no one read the playbook. And everyone's just kind of guessing what the playbook looks like this year. I have yet to see anyone do anything right so far on this offense. I can't blame Stefanski because he's just calling out the plays. It's not like Stefanski's the one out there throwing the football. He's just calling the plays. After that, it's not up to him of what happens. It's up to the O-line to make us. It's up to the O-line to block for the QB. It's up to Deshaun Watson to make the throws or escape the pocket and make a run. And it's also, the other thing that's pissing me off is also up to the receivers to make a fucking catch.
Yeah, we have the most drop passes by far, other than any team in the league right now.
Yeah, we also have the most sacks by far more than any team in the league.
Pressures
Pressures,
and
QB hits,
also penalties.
and penalties.
Yeah.
So we're first in the league in every wrong stat you want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Penalties, QB hits, sacks, drops. So the
It's been a
offense,
rough start.
the offense looks like hot ass right now.
Yeah.
Like it does not. And this was a very, very, very winnable game. And the Giants gave you every opportunity to go down and score and win the game.
Yeah.
Every opportunity. They gave you like 3-4 chances because they missed a field goal. And and even when you lost on 4th and 1 on your own side of the field, you still did enough to force them to punt.
Yeah.
So you had multiple opportunities to drive down the field, take your time, because the last 4th and 1 you had, there's still almost 3.5 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah.
So there was no need to QB rush. There's no need to rush. There's no need to no huddle. Nothing. You still had 3.5 minutes with like a timeout and a 2-minute warning. You had the entire time in the world to do whatever. And again, I think there's just a lack of communication on offense. I think Deshaun is doing the best that he can to make sure he calls up the Mike linebackers to call out the wills, to do whatever he can. And there's times where it's not his fault that there's a middle linebacker screaming down the middle, untouched, and he gets sacked as soon as the ball hits his hands.
Right.
I can't put that on Watson because why the is that happening to begin with? Also, too, why is Jed Wills allowing 2 guys to completely just go on opposite sides of him, and he's standing there with his hands up like, oh shit.
I mean, it's a typical Jed Wells. I mean, this is what he's known for. And then when he gets blown by, all he does is just stand around and go, "Oh, this sucks." Like he's the most like emotionless player I think I've ever seen play linemen. And like linemen are supposed to be like scary, vicious human beings that are all about, you know, the attitude. Like part of being a lineman is having an attitude.
And you know what? That's what's missing. That's what you're missing with Bill Callahan, because Bill Callahan used to eat their souls at practice. He used to yell at them. He used to beat them to the ground. Yep. And that's why the offensive line looked so incredibly good. But now it's almost like there's no fight in the offensive line. Like nobody cares. Like they're just allowing pressure to happen. And the offensive line coach now is just like, it happens. Like, and this is what we talked about before me and you jumped on here, was the fact that someone has to get on these guys' asses. Someone has to be the Bill Callahan. Someone has to be who is the interim coach in 2018 when our defensive coordinator? I forget his name.
What the fuck was his name? I don't know.
He's on Big Play now.
He's on Big. Greg Williams.
Greg Williams. Yeah. Like, you need someone in there who is not going to take shit from anybody. Who's going to go to every one of these players and like break a glass bottle over all of their fucking heads and be like, "What the hell are you doing?" We need someone to do that to the entire offense. The wide receivers, the O-line, Deshaun Watson. I don't care if it's Stefanski. I don't care if it's the running backs coach. I don't care who the hell it is. Someone step in and do something.
Yeah, I mean, I said this before we hopped on. I don't think there's much leadership, especially within the coaching side of things. I mean, I'm sure there is some decent, you know, leadership within the players, but especially on offense, it just doesn't seem like there's that fiery guy. And Watson is so reserved. Cooper's, you know, reserved. Bitonio's reserved. Even Chubb is reserved. Like, you don't have those fiery guys on that offense that are really grilling. And, you know, you don't know what's going on right now, you know, during the week. But I really am looking for guys like Stefanski to stop being so damn reserved and just come with it. Come with some energy, like show some passion, because I'm telling you, I'm getting tired of the same excuses being made week after week. And then, I think it was yesterday he said, "Oh, those things are going to get cleaned up really quick." It's like, okay, we've been waiting since week 1 for this shit to happen. We need to stop making excuses and stop saying what we need to say just in the media, and then when you go to work, it's nothing. I get there's injuries. I get that the season has started off rough, but it's not the end of the world. But you have got to get your guys going, and this is why I'm really tired of us relying on Stefanski to also be the play caller. It's either you got to make him the only head coach, or you have to at least make him be as enough involved to make sure that these guys know what the fuck they're doing. We need to have this game plan ready to go. And I'm telling you what, after the first drive, Stefanski's pretty freaking predictable at times, play calling. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that's starting to frustrate me. We started the game last week with the KOR literally getting fumbled immediately, and then we score the very next play. It's like, great, cool. And then after that, it was nothing. It was a lot of stagnant football. A lot of, we're going to only pass with Watson, not even try to run the ball and get him outside of the pocket for, PAs and stuff. Didn't do that hardly at all. And we didn't run the ball at all. Like, you used Foreman so well against Jacksonville. And then you're telling me last week he had, I think it was like 4 touches total. Like, it's beyond ridiculous. And even Ford didn't even get that many chances to run the ball. And, it could be, and we even talked about this before we got on too, if we think that they aren't running the ball just because they're sort of hiding some of these plays for Chubb when he does he'll come back. It's a crazy theory, but we're Browns fans. That's what we do. But like, there has to be a weird explanation for this, because if you're struggling in the passing game as an offensive line anyway, it's better to run the ball because it is easier as a run blocker to run block than to pass block. It makes more sense, and it fuels the ego of everybody that needs it, and it gets the offense going. Mm-hmm. And you didn't have an excuse because you weren't down in the first quarter. You were down at halftime 21-7, and yet you didn't let the Giants score at all in the second half. They did nothing. We had 3 or 4 different chances to win this game. The Giants were handing it to us on a silver platter, and we just refused to play within ourselves. We kept trying to be cute. We kept trying to make these crazy plays that just aren't going to work, and they have not worked for us. And with Watson struggling, you have to find ways to get him going without having to take deep shots. We have to get quick shots. Like, enough's enough with the cute shit. I'm tired of it, and if Watson is going to survive this season, he needs to stop holding on to the damn ball. He needs to get the ball out quicker. We need to make plays for that to get him going within the passing game, because it has been dink and donk central. We have barely made deep shots with him anyway. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating to watch this offense when we have all of the talent that we have. And, I know we haven't had Chief the last 2 weeks. He could come back this week. I know he came back to practice, so the possibility is there. And we got 1 more week at least without Chubb, maybe a few more. It just depends on how they feel about how he's doing in rehab. But Chubb's been at every single game, so he's there.
Yep.
And you're gonna get guys back, and now you're not gonna have any excuses because Cooper is playing who he is. Judy has played great. So far this year. Elijah Moore has made some good plays this year. It's not like you don't have guys to throw to, Watson. It's time to make some plays. It's time to really make calls that are going to benefit everybody on this offense, especially with the injuries that we have on the O-line. Now, Wyatt Teller just got put on IR, so he's out for the next 4 weeks. In comes Zinter, which I'm actually cool with. I think he played pretty well last week considering. And it sounds like Jed could play again, but you got guys like Dewan struggling. We're still waiting on Conklin, who just had a weird hammy from last week, so God knows when the hell he'll be back. Like, the offensive line is in a weird pinch right now, and I'm really curious to see what they do, if they even attempt to try to add somebody else to the roster in terms of a vet, because something's got to give. We can't keep giving Watson excuses when he's not playing well within himself anyway. You can't give him the excuses of, oh, it's because the O line is allowing a crazy amount of pressures, and we're getting we gave up what 8 sacks last week against the Giants. It's something has to give. It's the blame is everywhere right now, and that's what sucks. So you can't blame one specific person, but it's time to clean it up. You have a chance, with a few games with a few pretty bad teams or pretty meh teams. You haven't won in Oakland in forever, or not, not
Vegas.
Oakland, but yeah, the Raiders. You haven't beat them at their home place in forever. We really haven't even beat the Raiders in a long, long time. They always seem to have our number. So it's a chance to just get something going. And and if you do, guess what? You're 2-2, which is a lot better than 1-3, and you're still in the little small race within the AFC North, because the AFC North right now is a mess. Baltimore sucks. The Bengals are looking like one of the worst teams in the league right now.
Yeah.
And the Steelers, for some reason, look like they're the best team in the league right now. So it's early. This NFL season has been fucking weird, and I even said that on Twitter. It's been weird. But it's not going to last forever. The Browns have to get through this. They have to get over this hump and get into a rhythm. But they have to do it rather quickly, because people are really going to start getting very impatient with Watson.
Yeah. To bounce off the point of the Raiders, the Browns haven't beaten the Raiders since October 26, 2014. So it's been a while.
It's a long time.
It's been a minute. And again, going off some of the points that you made, only 18 total rushing attempts the entire time for the Browns. 2 for Jameis Winston, obviously on the 4th downs. Only 2 for Deontay Foreman. 4 for Deshaun Watson, and only 10 for Jerome Ford. So the most was 10 on the team, and that was for Jerome Ford. And then, I mean, after that, like we said, in the entire second half, you didn't allow the Giants to score a single point. The defense did all the work in the second half to give you as many opportunities as possible. And I really think that's the reason why the defense so far this year hasn't been spectacular, is because the first few weeks of last year, the offense was able to hold on to the ball for a while and keep the defense off the field. That's not the case anymore right now. The defense is on the field 24/7, and they're gassed. Injuries are happening, and it's costing us games that should be winnable.
It's
because the defense, if you took a 7-0 lead in the fastest time in NFL history, it took you hardly 10 seconds to get a lead.
Yeah.
Against the Giants. You were up 7-0 in the first 10 seconds of the game. And I was looking at it, and I was in front of a few Giants fans who were really cool, by the way. Shout out to them. They were very friendly, very funny guys, a bunch of frat boys. But in my mind, I was like, oh, God, we scored in 10 seconds. Oh, this is going to be a long day for them.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very, very long day.
And guess what? It was a long day for us.
Because and then I go to the interception too, and I really thought we had the pick that got called back for roughing the passer, which I didn't think was roughing the passer at all.
No,
I thought that was the softest roughing because then that's an opportunity to go 14-0.
Yeah, very
quickly. Yeah. So you had the chance to, and I think that would have turned the tides of the game if you were able to go up 14-0 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. We lost the game. There's no accountability so far for anything. Everyone's pointing fingers at each other, it seems like right now. Watson saying that the 4th and 1 to Akins was a decoy. Akins said that it wasn't a decoy. Dorsey said it wasn't a decoy. So I don't know what's going on. It seems like Watson was lying about that because it seems like
too.
No, it seems like, and the worst part is too, if you watch the video, he looked over towards Akins before he looked to Tillman, and and he just looked Akins off. And Akins had it was turned. It was like wide open, brother, like right here, and he could have gotten you 15 yards.
Oh yeah, he had room.
He had room to run, and Watson decided to run for no gain after that because he held the ball for too long and got 0 yards on the play on a 4th and 1, which you think for his caliber, so you can at least get 1 yard on running. But I digress, and I'm looking at the also too. I got the injury report for today for
It's long.
practice. It's long, but Bitonio was limited, so that's good to hear. Conklin didn't practice yesterday and today. Cohen, another offensive lineman, was limited. I'm assuming he was the guy in the practice squad that you got to in case if anyone was injured.
Yeah.
Jerome Ford, Mike Ford, and Myles Garrett all limited today. Hicks didn't practice at all. James Hudson and DeJuan Jones were both limited today, so that's a good sign. Jerry Jeudy, full participant the last 2 days because obviously he had a small knee injury, but he's full participant. Yep. David Njoku practicing for the first time since week 1. So David Njoku was limited today, which is good news. Pierre Strong not practicing, so this is where you hope that Foreman gets a lot of work. Dalvin Tomlinson did not practice today, but it says not injury related, rest. So I'm assuming something's kind of there.
Yeah.
Jed, because he was limited yesterday, didn't practice today, but they're saying it's because of rest. Jed Wills didn't practice yesterday or today, so obviously that's concerning. And then Alex Wright limited both days. So It seems like out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 of them are limited, and 1, 2, 3 are full participants. So likely only 1, 2, 3, 4, only 5 guys didn't practice out of 17 people, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
That means you're going to hell. And so far for the Raiders, Devontae Adams was only limited today.
Yep.
Looking at Max Crosby, he hasn't practiced the last couple of days, which is their best edge rusher and their best defensive player. So
and they just lost another one last week too to a season ender. So their defense is rough right now.
Their defense, the best defensive players are out right now with injury, which is good, at least good for now.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to worry about injuries. But for me, there's no excuse. After watching the game on Sunday, there's no excuse. These are winnable games coming up.
Yeah.
The only game I have no faith in is the Eagles game coming up.
Yeah.
That's really the only game that I am fairly confident in saying that we're going to get our asses kicked. And that's
unless they're still also very riddled with the injury. Because right now, Smith is out, or probably going to be out because he's got a concussion. AJ Brown is out. So, I mean,
unless Saquon Barkley,
so I mean, if you're able to slow him down, that's great. But yeah, I mean, the Eagles game is definitely going to be tough. But yeah, you have winnable games in front of you, and the Browns have to stop screwing around and wasting that.
Yeah, because you have the Raiders this week. You have the Commanders next week, which honestly, I'm scared of the Commanders now because Jane Daniels is playing out of his freaking mind right now.
Yeah, he had a great game on Monday night.
So, but again, it's still winnable because their defense isn't that fantastic either. Their defense is kind of lackluster. So these are winnable games coming up.
Yeah,
and
they all are.
Right now, you're having the luck on your side that the Bengals are complete ass right now. The Ravens have no identity, just as well as you do. We don't have an identity, but neither does the Ravens apparently. Yeah. I think Joe Burrow's injuries are finally caught up to him, and I think he's starting to become a little washed. I know he threw for over 300 yards, and Jamar Chase had a fantastic game, but it's just only those two. And their defense is horrible. And Zach Taylor is still a fucking idiot.
I was about to say, I think this is the year Zach Taylor finally gets canned because I think he's just a very bad coach that has been overshadowed by how great his players were.
Yeah.
And I think now the players are getting frustrated, and they get it. And I mean, with the Jamar stuff, it makes for drama, and it can't be good for the locker room. It can't be. So yeah, this division is just so wide open for us. We can't ponder these, these gifts that are being handed to us. The Jaguars are an ass team. New York is a dog shit team. They're playing right now, and they're down, 7-3 already
Yeah.
to Dallas, who Dallas beat us, and they're not a great team either. We just made them look good because they've played like dog shit the last 2 weeks. They got beat up by the Saints, and they should have got beat up more by the Ravens, but the Ravens, again, as you said, they don't really have a identity. So we've been getting handed all of these, and it's just, man, it's getting to the point where I'm getting fed up with just, again, the excuses. So I'm just hoping that, again, guys like Stefanski, they really step up and really make a way. But I'm looking for players to start being leaders. And, I think guys like McLeod, I know he spoke on 92.3 The Fan, I think on Monday after the game. And the way he was starting to talk about everything, it makes you feel good. At least you have guys like that in there. But I think we need more. And it's the only way you're going to get through this rough patch. But my question to you is, again, with how Watson is struggling and also with everything going on, outside of football, how patient are we currently with Watson? Like, how much more is it going to take for us to really, like, truly fall away from him and even force Stefanski to bring in a guy like, Winston and take the role? Because it's getting close.
I would say he has until the Bengals game, which is October 20th. October 20th. So that means he's got the Raiders, the Commanders, and the Eagles. So basically this entire road trip. He's got this entire road trip to do something. If not,
to show something.
If not, I think the Bengals game is the perfect time for Winston to come in and just see if it makes a difference. I'm not saying Winston has to be the go-to starter. I'm just saying that will he make any kind of difference? So I think, and I don't care if anyone disagrees or not. I mean, I'm sure people will disagree, but that's at least my timeline is he's got 3 weeks. He's got these next 3 weeks, and if nothing changes, it's time to hit the bench. And if you're the Browns, I think you start looking elsewhere for quarterbacks. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind if you got back onto the phone with Joe Flacco and said, "Hey, listen, you want to run it back?"
Yeah. Which, again, it almost brings you back to to saying, why the hell did you just not bring Flacco back in the first place? I
think it's because of the changing of the playbook with Ken Dorsey, and I think that's why. Because Joe Flacco is a play action. I think Joe Flacco is such a play action quarterback.
Yeah.
And I saw this. Some guy posted this on Twitter yesterday that when it came to Joe Flacco versus Deshaun Watson, especially in the play action scheme, what made Flacco so successful in the Browns offense was the fact that he can do the play fake so well and he can hide the ball so well, which buys him so much time to either A, run the ball and get some yardage, or B, sling it to Amari Cooper 45 yards downfield for a big time play. Deshaun Watson doesn't do that well with masking the football. And he, don't get me wrong, play action still buys him enough time to make a choice.
But he just holds on to the ball too long. And I think his progressions are so slow. So, sometimes it just, he instantly will run into a sack. And it's like, dude, you got to sell this cleanly. And, that's one thing that I used to love about Bake, was Bake could really sell a play at a PA well. But again, I'm not even gonna get into the Baker thing because there's a lot of people saying that, oh, we would be a top 5 team if we had him, and it's like, maybe, but
I don't think so.
again, I think Baker just needed the change. It was good for both parties, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, because Baker
He had to
needed the
mature.
ego. Yeah, he definitely had to mature. Now, if you were able to somehow bring him back, maybe it's different, but that won't happen anyway for the next 4 years anyway, because he
Yeah.
just he signed. So you can't put your eggs in that basket. I think if anything, the Browns, if they're really going to continue to struggle, and let's say the legal stuff with with Watson gets worse, it could be a chance where you tank and you go after some of these top quarterbacks that are coming in within the draft, because guys like Quinn Ewers looks great. That Cam Ward for Miami is outstanding. I think
We
his
have
name
a top
Josh
5 pick right now.
Beck or whatever. Yeah, so I mean, you could very well start for that, and it's a good time to have a first round pick if you're the Browns, because you're gonna need a quarterback in this draft at some point, because it's, do you trust DTR, and what are you gonna do with Winston? Because if Watson gets in trouble and he gets suspended again, and then he gets off this team, you're back at ground zero, and you take that massive L. Meanwhile, Houston is sitting lovely with Stroud for the next probably 5 to 10 more years, if not longer. So, it's one of those things where if the Browns have to take the L, I hope they just do, and not even waste time with it, because the good thing is it's not all Watson. It definitely is not all Watson that is the true the
Problem.
main reason why we're losing. It's a combination of things. The defense needs to play better. Martin Emerson did not have a good game last week. He needs to play better. Ward has been injured. He still needs to play better and play more.
I thought he's one of our best defender. Him and Newsom are our 2 best defenders on Sunday.
Yeah, you don't have guys like Juan Thornhill, right now, but you still have McLeod and everybody else.
I take that back. I actually think that the best player on the defensive field right now is not just Jock, it's Grant Delpit.
Yeah, Grant Delpit has been all over the field. I fucking love it.
He's been the best defensive player we've had so far this season. Did you see his stats for the Giants game?
No.
He had
probably a million fucking tackles. I know that much.
He had 10 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 tackle for loss. Yeah. 10 total tackles. The most on the team. Which means it tells you he was fucking all over the field.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Jock were the only ones making plays, because Jock was the one that was second.
Yeah, him and Jock are the only ones that are popping off consistently for the defense. Yep. And even with Miles battling his stuff, which that's another thing too, dude. Miles might be out this week. We don't know yet.
Honestly, if I'm
Miles, and I'm cool with it. I really am.
A lot of people,
I don't think you need him this week.
No, a lot of former players said that he should take the next 2 weeks off and come back for the Eagles game.
Yeah, I agree. Because there's no reason to really risk a serious, you don't want him to have an Achilles tear or something because of his feet. He needs to get off his feet, just get whatever he needs done. And, if a procedure is in the cards, I would hope that at the very least, it's going to be something that wouldn't be season ending if he does get it during the season. We will see how that ends up panning out, but whatever he needs to do now, do it, because we are going to need you later in the season anyway. But if the Browns are just going to continue to play like shit, shut them down, honestly. If that's really how it's going to go, shut them down. I'm not even going to waste our time with it, because we've wasted so many good years of guys like Chubb and Miles and Petonio. And if we're going to waste another one, then fuck it. You might as well, because you keep doing it. But my last question before we move to week 4 game predicts. Who do you think is going to be the first one fired? Because, we used to rave about this staff right now, but it's becoming a problem, especially within, the wideouts. Our obviously the O line looks like shit. There's a lot of weird things going on right now. Who do you think could be the scapegoat for the first one to get fired, and when do you think that is going to happen?
I would say it's got to be Ken Dorsey. And I give him the same amount of time as Deshaun Watson. Reason why I'm saying that is because you brought Ken Dorsey in to help you draw the best playbook possible for Deshaun Watson. And right now, you have the worst offense in the NFL. Meanwhile, with 5 different quarterbacks last year, you were a top 10 offense or a top 15 offense. But now you're telling me you're the worst offense in the league because you brought in this quote unquote mastermind to help bring Deshaun Watson alive and draw up this playbook. And there's a reason why Ken Dorsey got fired in Buffalo is because he made Josh Allen look like shit. I truly believe that him and Deshaun Watson have the same amount of time before Deshaun is benched and Ken Dorsey is fired. You have until about the Eagles game to get your shit together. If not, you got to go and it's back to the Kevin Stefanski. And I had the Kevin Stefanski offense. There's nothing wrong with the Kevin Stefanski offense. I never had an issue with it. It ran well. It got you downfield. It got points. But this Ken Dorsey offense, you had 17 points week 1, 17 points, 18 points week 2, and 16 because the other 2 was a safety, so I have to give that to the defense. So you had 17 points, 16 points, and you had 15 points. You had 16 points average, which is the worst in the NFL. The worst in the league. I think Ken Dorsey's got to be the one that goes because he came in to be the offensive mastermind, draw up this amazing playbook for Deshaun Watson to be elite, and you're the worst fucking offense in the league. And like I said, the Kevin Stefanski offense wasn't even that bad because we were averaging at least 23 to 24 points with that offense. And it was a bunch of runs and play action. So I think it's got to be Ken Dorsey.
Yeah, and I definitely don't disagree. And I actually want to share this text. Or it wasn't a text that I got from specifically, but somebody within one of my Browns groups. And I guess multiple times last week, he said that the Browns are going to force feed the new offense come hell or high water, even if it costs them some games. And I think what's going on is Stefanski might be sandbagging this to prove that his offense was better and that Watson really is a problem. And if that is the case, it could make sense as to why the offense is being so predictable right now.
Yeah.
And it's a theory, so it's not like it's anything that's proven. But even Ken and Lima were starting to talk about that a little bit as well, that they've heard Kevin did not want to fire AVP. And
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did. I think that was an AB or Haslam move. 1,000%.
To be honest, I don't even think it was an AB move or a Stefanski move. I think it was just a Jimmy Haslam move. I think Jimmy Haslam just hated Alex Van Pelt and wanted his ass gone. Because we all know how Jimmy Haslam likes to get his hands all over the team too. And we said this about every owner, including Jerry Jones and stuff, they need to step away and let the GMs do their job and step away. You're the owner. You just worry about the other shit. You worry about the business side of everything, whatever. Let AB handle this shit. I don't think AB or Stefanski wanted him because all 3 of them would hang out and just talk and laugh and stuff. I don't think Barry wanted him gone either. I think this was strictly Jimmy Haslam. That's what I think.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I have so many opinions on Haslam anyway, so Um, I would love for him to be the one that is the scapegoat. Fucking sell the team and make somebody else be the owner because I'm sick and tired of him
Okay, make
himself.
AB the owner.
Yeah, for real, God. But yeah, it's a difficult thing to be in. But again, as I've said, it's only week 4. We have time. There's not a panic button just yet.
No.
But if we continue to lose to bad teams, there's going to be a panic button, and Browns fans are going to be even more willy-nilly about who we want to run this offense, who we want to call plays. There's going to be a lot of people calling for a lot of different heads, and that's how Cleveland is. So, all else I can say to Browns fans out there that do listen to us is buckle up because this is going to be a rough next few weeks. Especially if things continue to digress the way that they are.
Who's your firing?
And
when?
Chad O'Shea, 100%, and it could very well happen before bye week, but at the very least bye week, which would be week 10, I think. So, if the wide receivers continue to drop balls like they have, I mean, he's going to be an easy scapegoat anyway because he's not a head sort of assistant coach. He's more of just the assistant of assistant, and he's been here for a really long time, and I know a lot of people have a lot of high praise for him, but it's the same thing with the old special teams coach we had for that longest time.
Oh, Mike Reefer?
Yeah, and we got rid of him, and, it still doesn't matter, but it's a point of emphasis to get these guys flowing again. And it could also be the O-line coach as well. If the O-line continues to struggle, especially when we start getting our guys back, he could very well be a scapegoat too. But I do agree. I think Ken Dorsey could very well be a mid-season firing if this continues to struggle, and that's the part that is going to be rough for Browns fans because you're going to be like, well, why the fuck did you get rid of AVP? Oh, because you wanted to do something different. Well, it didn't matter because now we're back to ground zero. But there's a reason why the Bills got rid of him. Whatever that reason was, they're playing so much better now. They're so much better off without him. So maybe he was a problem. I don't know. He wasn't a great end. Yeah. I mean, he was not a great quarterback in the NFL, so he might not be a good offensive coordinator. I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, bring back AVP.
Yeah.
I want him back. Where is he? Oh, he's the offensive coordinator for New England now.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Oh, there goes CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, so we got the game up. So, I guess we'll get into the predicts. So I picked Dallas to win this. I know they've been struggling, but I just think the Giants are just that bad still, even with them, beating us. And I think Dallas had a chance to win last week against the Ravens, and they screwed that up. So, I just think that they got this in the bag, and they're already up. Now they're going to be up 14-6 here in a second, and it's only 9-16 in the second quarter. So, yeah, I'm saying boys all day long. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but CeeDee Lamb was an anytime scorer lock for me, and yeah, this is Dallas's game.
Yeah, I mean, no disagreements. I also put Dallas. So, same reasons, obviously. Giants, all god-awful football team. We should have beat them last week. They should be 0-3 going into this game. They should be 0-4 after tonight. But we're the Cleveland Browns, baby, and that's what we do best. We give teams free wins.
Best. Exactly.
That's what we do, baby. We give teams free wins.
So yeah, now we get into the actual NFL predicts, which we're already an hour and 3 minutes into the podcast. So we will try to speed this up. We won't try to be too long, but we definitely want to keep up on these, and then we'll obviously make our little bets. I know Andrew and I both made one for the Browns, and I made one for tonight. So we'll see if that hits. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the predicts.
All right. So starting with Atlanta and New Orleans.
Are you gonna pop up the
oh yeah,
too?
sorry.
No, you're good.
Sorry, boys, forgot to
technical difficulties. If you're watching the YouTube channel, if you're on Spotify, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, if you're on Spotify, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hell
There's
yeah.
the graphic. Let's go, baby. So yeah, we'll just drop down. Never mind. I was
Yeah.
gonna do Atlanta and New Orleans because I typed it out on ESPN. I didn't get to see this because this just came out.
This
I
is
just missed
weird.
this,
This
but
is weird how they have this set
yeah,
up. So I mean, I guess you could go like side to side instead of drop down because it has like the Monday night games on the bottom. It's just goofy.
yeah, it's
So
goofy,
goofy.
but you know what? We'll just go. Yeah, we'll just go side to
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
We'll go Falcons and Saints.
Yep. So I think the Falcons do this. The Saints lost last week. I know they have been playing pretty well, but maybe I mean I do think the Falcons defense is better. So I'm gonna say Atlanta here.
I completely agreed with you. I said Atlanta as well. I think they're just the better overall team. I think they're better defense, and Kirk Cousins seems to be settling in and returning to Kirk O'Chains 2.0 in Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
All right, going down to Cincinnati and Carolina.
Andy Dalton revenge tour. I'm gonna take the Panthers. The Bengals are bad. They are struggling. They are not good on defense. They're pretty dimensional on offense, and Joe Burrow looks human. Andy Dalton looked great, and the Panthers beat the absolute dog shit out of Oakland. Or I keep saying Oakland. It's Vegas, damn it. Beat up the Raiders. I'm saying Carolina. They're riding the high.
I agreed with you. I think this is just a revenge game for good old Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle.
Red Rifle.
I love that nickname. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's so great.
I heard someone say that Andy Dalton was one of those guys who just needed to leave Cincy to get a change of pace and just get an opportunity, almost like Joe Flacco essentially.
Yeah.
And well, Joe Flacco went crazy for the Browns, and I had the same prediction that Andy Dalton's just going to go absolutely berserk for the Carolina Panthers. And I just hate the Cincinnati defense. I think it's atrocious. I think it's god awful. I think Cincinnati was one of the more overhyped teams coming into this season. Everyone gassed them to be the second best team in the AFC North and like the third best team in the A, or like the fourth or fifth best AFC team, whatever.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
I think
we saw through it.
Yeah, I mean, you got rid of Joe Mixon, which was a dumb move, and all you really have for receivers is Mike Gesicki and fucking Jamar Chase.
I mean, they still have Higgins, but he didn't do anything last week, so.
And he's gonna probably leave it, and he's gonna leave after the season. Same with Trey Hendrickson.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
So they're gonna be even worse. And we both made the prediction that Zach Taylor is gonna be gone after the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Bengals suck.
Boo! All right, Rams and Chicago Bears.
I'm gonna say. You know what? I'm gonna get crazy. I'm gonna say Bears.
Okay.
I mean, the Rams, obviously, they're pretty beat up on offense. They're not terrible on defense, but they still have Stafford, so it's like he can still survive. But I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna say the Bears take that.
I am opposing you. I'm going with the LA Rams. They came off a massive win against the San Francisco 49ers. Even though the 49ers filled the entire stadium in SoFi and made it look like a secondary home game, I think the Rams need to go back to St. Louis, where they actually had true and a loyal fan base. Yep. And I think the Chargers need to also go back to San Diego, where they also had a true and loyal fan base, because nobody in LA gives two shits about them. In fact, there's more LA Raiders fans than there are Chargers and Rams fans. And if anyone was supposed to move to LA, it should have been
the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Yeah.
And the Chargers and the Rams should have stayed where they were. Yeah. And then all in the world will be, well, and we didn't need the Vegas team to be anywhere near Vegas.
No, not at all.
But yeah, I went with the Rams. I think they're going to ride off the high of the huge win against San Francisco. And I think Matthew Stafford and Kyrie Williams are going to do just fine without Puka and Cooper for another couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, it's certainly believable. I think that Caleb Williams is going to be fine. I think he's going to get Keenan Allen back this week, so it could help him. But yeah,
All right, Green Bay and Minnesota, the rivalry in the
This
NFC North.
is one of the better games this week, honestly.
Yep.
Green Bay's playing really well, even despite not having Love. They've been running the shit out of the ball, and they've been very good, and their defense has been very solid. But on the other end, the Vikings have one of the best defenses in the league, and Sam Darnold is playing out of his mind. I am gonna say Vikings. I think it's gonna be close, and I would not be surprised if Green Bay squeaks this one out because they've been pretty lucky. But the Vikings have been very impressive to me, and I think their defense is just freaking insane. Like they really fly around, and I think that's what's gonna help them.
I completely agree with you. I went the Minnesota Vikings as well. Like you said, for all the same reasons. The Minnesota defense is probably the best defense in the league by far right now. And I don't know what the hell happened to Sam Darnold, but he just turned into insanely good MVP. He turned into like an MVP candidate somehow. Like Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson just work. That doesn't seem right in this alternate NFL universe right now. Like this should not be happening. And the Vikings coming off of a massive W over the Houston Texans. I got Minnesota because, especially too, if Jordan Love doesn't play in this game, there's no way Malik Willis does anything against this Minnesota defense. And even still, I think Jordan Love still struggles against this Minnesota defense. So Minnesota all the way, just because they have the best defense in the league.
Absolutely. All right, Houston and Jacksonville.
Jags.
Easiest pick ever, Houston. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence is hot garbage. They gave him all of that money, and he was probably, I'd say, the most overhyped quarterback in the National Football League. He is garbage, and he has better receivers this year than he did last year, and they are hot ass. Houston all the way.
I called this when Trevor Lawrence got drafted that he was going to bust in the NFL, and it's showtime, baby. He is showing the bustability. Jacksonville is just hot garbage again. Somehow, some way, they made the playoffs the last year or two. It's probably because the AFC South was just so dog water, and that they're the only good team in the AFC South because the Colts were kind of mid. There was Houston before CJ Stroud, and everyone in the AFC South was hot ass. So it gave the Jags free reign into the postseason, and then now you see that everyone in the AFC is actually pretty solid this year. And, well, Jacksonville is the worst team in the AFC at this point right now. Trevor Lawrence, the bust that I called a couple of years ago, he's busting hard right now.
Yeah.
So, and then we're going to see Caleb Williams do the same, baby. Let's go. We're calling it bust. Yeah. So, yep, I went with Houston as well.
Cool. All right, next, Steelers, Colts. Fuck. I don't want to say this, but the Steelers are probably going to start off 4-0. Anthony Richardson has struggled a lot. The only thing he's really good at is deep shots. Everything else he has struggled with mightily. And unless the Colts can find a way to get Jonathan Taylor going, I just don't see them beating Pittsburgh because their defense is actually playing really good. Watt looks great. They have Cam Hayward back. And they seem to be back to their old self, which sucks for us. But the fact of the matter is the Steelers are coached well, and Fields is doing enough to win games too. Like, he's not making a lot of mistakes, and it's good to see him getting into a spot where he's being coached well. And he even said that on a podcast that it's night and day difference between him and where he was in Chicago. So unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, the Steelers are going to probably start a 4-0.
Yeah, and I absolutely went with you on here as well. It made me sick to my stomach. I almost threw up.
Yeah,
putting Pittsburgh's name into
this lot. It sucks.
But they're so damn well coached that I think we all saw this coming to this at the season. Like, we're like, somehow, some way, the Steelers are just going to be one of the best teams in football, and they're going to do it with Justin fucking Fields as the quarterback. And it's like you said, the defense is doing enough to keep they're just doing enough. The Steelers defense this is what we thought the Browns were going to be this year, where the defense is going to do enough, and as long as Deshaun Watson just doesn't make any stupid mistakes, you're going to win football games. And that's what we're seeing with Justin Fields and the Steelers. And the Steelers defense is doing everything they can to make sure Justin Fields has an easy time. And again, as long as he doesn't make mistakes, the Steelers are going to win football games. Anthony Richardson, I think, was one of the more overhyped quarterbacks coming into the league. He really struggles making reads. He really struggles with a lot. The only thing he can do is really run when he has to, and like you said, throw the deep shot.
Yeah, he's got a strong arm, but that's about it.
That's about it. It could be Joe Flacco time there soon too.
Yeah, it really could.
And if Joe Flacco's a starter, I think everything's switched. If Joe Flacco's a starter,
and the Colts become like a legit team.
And the Colts become a legit team, but as long as Anthony Richardson starts, I got Pittsburgh all the way here.
Yeah.
All right, Jets and Bronx.
Ooh, I'm gonna say Jets. You know, I think the Broncos finally have found something there with Bo Nix. He had a great game last week. Yeah. But Jets are just a better team. They should be a better team. And I think the Jets are playing a good enough ball right now, so I'm gonna say Jets.
Yeah, I went with Jets too. I just think they're 10 times better than the Denver Broncos. Again, Bo Nix, still a rookie quarterback, still has a lot to figure out, but looked really good last week. So I give him a lot of credit. I think he's definitely the more underrated of the rookie quarterbacks. I think he's actually going to perform really well in the NFL. So good on the Broncos for finding someone actually worthwhile to have on their team as a QB. But you're not going to beat Aaron Rodgers, and the Jets defense is insanely good too.
Yeah.
So Jets it is. Up next, we have the Eagles and the Bucks.
I'm gonna say Tampa Bay because the Eagles' offense is depleted. All they have is Barkley and Hurts, and if Tampa Bay can do well enough to stop their run game, they're gonna do fine. But on the other end, Saquon has been tearing up defenses. He has been playing out of his mind. It's just the thing that scares me is they're probably not gonna have Smith, and they won't have Brown. So there's just not a lot of guys for him to really throw to. I mean, yeah, he's gonna have Jonah Dotson. He could have a great game. He could be a waiver wire guy to have this week. But Tampa has looked pretty solid. Baker looks good. And they're not a bad team at all. So I'm gonna say Tampa.
Yeah, I joined you on the Tampa Bay train because, like, I mean, it's all for the same reasons too. I mean, I think without Devonta Smith, without AJ Brown, your starting wide receiver is basically Jahan Dotson, and that's your top target right now. And you can't have Saquon Barkley do all the work in the pass game and the run game. You're just going to gas him too quickly. And the Tampa Bay defense is still pretty solid and pretty good. So as long as they can stop the run, the Eagles have no chance. All right.
Washington Eagles and Arizona.
Yeah.
Man, this is actually a pretty good little matchup here too. Washington just came off a really good game. Mm-hmm. Again, I know they played the Bengals. But Washington played very well, but Kyler's been playing really well as well. This is a tough one. I'm gonna say Arizona. I think Harrison has a much better game. But I would not be surprised if Washington wins this game. I can see it going both ways.
So this is where I went opposite once again. I went with the Washington Commanders because, my God, does Jaden Daniels look like a stud, dude?
He looks awesome.
He looks amazing. And then I think him and Terry McLaurin have finally found a connection. And I think as long as they have that connection going and him and Zach Ertz can still get going, this offense is going to be rolling. And they have, Brian Robinson Jr. as a running back, and he's actually a decent running back as well. Yeah. So I kind of like the Washington Commanders offense. It's kind of low key underrated. It's actually really solid. And if Jaden Daniels can continue to play like this, not only is he going to be Rookie of the Year, but he's just going to be an NFL stud. And this could be, knock on wood, the healthy resurgence of RG3 for Washington.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's a good pick. And, as I said, I think that game can go either way.
Yeah.
It really just depends on who shows up that game. So
I
you're
just
not
think
a bad pick.
I also think defensively Washington is slightly better
Yeah,
than Arizona defensively.
yeah, they are.
All right. We have the Pats versus the Niners.
Um, I'm gonna say Niners. Although they are heavily depleted, they still have Ayuk. That Juwan Jennings kid had a massive game last week against the Rams. I think they squeeze out a dub. The Pats are just a really rough team right now. They don't have a lot going. You really do wonder how long it's going to take for them to get Drake May out. Um, and I don't know. They're clearly a team that is in the tank. However, I could very well see this being a trap game. Um, but I just don't think the Pats are that good. I think the true trap game is the next game ahead.
Yeah, I went with the 49ers as well. Again, just like you said, the Patriots are just they're on their way. And obviously there's a reason why they got Drake May because obviously they want him to be the future quarterback. They're praying to God he doesn't turn into another Mac Jones. And I see what you're seeing. I see the fumble recovery
What the
for.
fuck was that?
I have
I don't
no
even think
idea.
he. I don't even think he got the ball. We have the prime game up tonight for the Thursday night game. Wendell Robinson just had a lovely he had a first down and then some, and he just lost it. I don't know if he didn't even catch it fully. I'm about to see the replay.
The fans'
What
reactions are
the
incredible.
fuck? And then what's the flag on? I think the
Um,
flag. I think the flag's on Dallas regardless. But that was fucking sorry for the face, guys. That was so funny.
that's funny. I
The
kind of want to
Giants
see
are
the
so
replay too.
bad. They're
But
so bad.
while we wait for the replay, I'm gonna finish my point here. I think New England is it's too many men downfield offense.
Okay.
Um, or an eligible man downfield. But back to the point being said, I think Gerard Mayo, obviously he's a rookie head coach. He's been under Bill Belichick for a long while now.
Yeah.
And I think the issue is that he's trying to instill the Belichick way still. And with this new era of Patriots, I don't think it's going to work because obviously it didn't work with Belichick at the helm the last season or two. I think this is an entirely new team. This isn't a Belichick style team. I don't think he could run. I don't think you can run whatever he influenced in New England anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to go a different route. I think Gerard Mayo needs to create his own identity with the Patriots in order for them to be successful. But points aside, offense is not great. The only positive on the offense is Jalen Polk, the rookie wide receiver, and Ramondre Stevenson. And their defense is absolutely garbage.
Yeah.
With the depleted offense, San Francisco should still have no issues. Kansas City and the Chargers.
So my pick is the Chiefs because it's the Chiefs. I think this is finally a game that Travis Kelce gets going. However, I'm saying that this could be a trap game for them this week. The Chargers have had some rough games, but their run game is really, really good. Like J.K. looks outstanding this year. And with Herbert still kind of hobbled right now with this ankle, you don't know what's going to go on, and they don't have a great pass game going right now. But if the defense can create some turnovers and make Pat make mistakes, which he is doing a lot of, he has not played outstanding this year at all. Um, this could be a trap game, but I'm still going to say the Chiefs because at the end of the day, it's Pat Mahomes, and I think they have a pretty good identity against the Chargers anyway. They haven't really struggled against them. It's always been the Raiders that they struggle with. So the Chargers don't have a lot going for them there, but this could very well be a trap game.
Yeah, I went with Kansas City as well. Or excuse, yeah, I went with the Kansas City refs. I mean Chiefs. Um, there's just
Yeah,
no way around it. I mean Kansas City's just no
it's
matter
rough.
what they could somehow be losing 55-0 in the first half and still somehow win. Probably because they'll get every single call by the referees, but I see how it could be a trap game, especially without Justin Herbert, because once again, J.K. Dobbins has been a beast. So But I think Kansas City is just too overpowering. Their offense is just too good. You have Rashi Rice and Xavier Worthy and all those guys, and they're just going to keep killing it. And like you said, this could be a game where Travis Kelce finally gets going. So give me the Chiefs.
Absolutely.
We're going to skip over the Browns and the Raiders and go straight into Sunday Night Football with the Bills and Ravens.
This is game of the week. This is a good fucking
Yeah.
game. Even though the Ravens won last week and they definitely used Henry a lot more, the Bills are hot. They are one of the best teams in the league right now, and it's because Josh Allen's on a tear and James Cook is a phenomenal running back. I'm gonna say Bills here. Obviously because they are the better team. But this is going to be a fun one. I think there's going to be a good bit of offense being had here. But we will see. But yeah, I'm saying Bills.
Yeah, I completely agreed with you. I went with the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is just gung ho crazy and hot right now. That Bills offense is wildly hot for some reason. Khalil Shakir looks amazing. Josh Allen looks amazing. James Cook is the best running back in the NFL by far right now. And I just don't. This is just a weird year for the NFL so far, but
Yeah.
I definitely like Buffalo in this game. Baltimore has been struggling a lot. They almost blew the game against Dallas.
Oh yeah.
So this is definitely a different Ravens team than what we're used to seeing. And I just don't have a lot of faith in the Ravens, whether they're home or away. They lost at home to the Vegas Raiders too, so we have to keep that in the back of our minds. So, but I went with Buffalo because I think the Ravens' struggles kind of continue, which leads us into the first Monday night game at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time: Tennessee versus Miami.
The worst game of the week. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna be Tennessee. But honestly, I would not be surprised if the Dolphins somehow pull that out just because of how bad freaking Titans are. But I think Will Levis can at least do more than what Miami has to offer without Tua.
Yeah, Will Levis versus Skylar Thompson. I got Will Levis. Without Tua, this offense is nothing. Tyreek Hill is non-existent. Jalen Waddle is non-existent. The only offense you could really create is with Devon Achane, and obviously you can't overwork him because he came back from some injuries a little bit too and stuff like that last year, whatnot. And he's still working through some injuries, so you can't really ride with Devon Achane the entire game. So the only good offense in this game is going to come from Tennessee. Skylar Thompson did sustain an injury as well too, but I think he's good enough to play. So, but I think Will Levis is a lot better than Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the final Monday night game at 8:15 is Seattle versus Detroit.
This is a better game.
The best one.
I mean, I think Detroit is going to win this game, but Seattle's going to make it very interesting. They're playing good enough ball. I mean, Seattle's not a bad team. And when they get guys like, Metcalf going and Geno Smith gets it rolling, I know that Charbonnet kid's been playing well this year too. I can see Seattle pulling it out, but I just love the Lions. I really do. I think they're still going to be one of the best teams in the league this year. So
I went the opposite.
Interesting.
Because Seattle has been one of the better teams in the league this year. And like you said, even without Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet has been doing numbers. A lot of us have predicted this kid to be actually really solid of a back.
Oh, yeah. He's a big boy, too. He really is.
And I just think right now, Seattle is just well coached. I mean, Dan Campbell's doing wonders in Detroit, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Somehow, some way, Seattle always finds ways to win games. And Detroit has had a slow start to the year. So I think those woes still continue. I think Detroit obviously figures it out in a next couple games and stuff, and they're back on track. But they've had quite a slow start to the season, and Seattle has just been on fire. Yeah. And then the Brownies versus the Raiders, and I don't even know if I want to do this one.
Yeah, this one's going to be tough. I'm still gonna say Browns. Even though we're away, I think this is a get back week for us. I think this is a week where I think some players are really gonna come in truly motivated and ready to go. I think a lot of people are pissed off right now, and I think that can play into our favor. But Stefanski has got to call a better game, and we have got to play some cleaner ball because I'm sick and tired of watching these guys give up sacks. I'm tired of seeing these guys give up a ton of penalties and stuff. It's getting on it's getting on my nerves. And also the Raiders are not that great of a team. They lost last week to the Panthers, pretty badly as well. The Panthers had their number all day long. And yeah, with Dalton they're better, but it's still the Panthers. They were supposed to be the worst team in the league at this point. So I'm still gonna say Browns. I'm gonna say like 20 to like 17. Like it's gonna be close. It's not gonna be pretty, but if Watson is gonna play better, he better do it during this game. And he has a good you know reputation against Oakland. God, I keep saying Oakland. My God, the Raiders. I'm gonna get freaking canceled. But he's had a good thing going against the Raiders. Like he's won a lot of games against them, so it could go in our favor. And I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me to pick against them, but wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders pull it out because the Browns are the Browns at times, and they play really stupid. So we'll see. We'll really see who truly shows up player wise.
Yeah, I went with the Browns. I was kind of back and forth on this one as well. But like you said, I think the Browns are pissed off going into this game. I think finally someone in this locker room probably went off, whether it was a player or a coach, finally decided to say something.
Yeah.
And light some fire under the asses of these guys because it needs to be done in order for the Browns to start winning some football games. The other reason why I like this game is because the Raiders defense is the third worst in the NFL in total defense. They give up almost 400 yards allowed for opposing offenses. So that's very promising if you're this kind of offense like the Cleveland Browns, that you might get to have some offense going. You might be able to utilize the run a little bit more finally in this game, even though you just played one of the worst rushing defenses in the league last week and you didn't even run the ball. Right. You have that opportunity again. Like, as we said earlier, guys like Max Crosby are not participating in practice this week, it seems like, and they're probably trending towards not playing, which would give you a big boost because they'll also give Watson a lot of time to make throws because their biggest pass rushers is gone. So this is the opportunity to have a comeback win. This game feels like a Jacksonville type game for me, where it's just kind of like a dull and annoying, boring ass game, but it's going to be one that the Browns can definitely win if the defense just does its job the entirety of the game. So again, this is probably just going to be based on defense. And Gardner Minshew is also insanely streaky. There's 1 week he's insanely good, then he's bad for like the next couple weeks. And then he's like good against like the Kansas City Chiefs. And then he's like god awful against, the Chicago Bears, like the Carolina Panthers or something. Like there's no like in between for Gardner Minshew. He's either one game he's really good or he's just really, really bad. And he's just a streaky quarterback. And you beat him last year. So I think you can definitely do it again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be interesting. We'll see really who shows up. I know either of us really have a lot of true confidence in this team right now. So, we're going to see who shows up. And that's really all that I got to say about the Browns.
Same.
Anything else you want to say that we didn't talk about before we get off here, man?
Yeah, go Guardians.
Absolutely go Guardians. I mean, obviously, we probably won't start until I think it's either the 5th or the 6th. We'll see how the schedule ends up, starting to roll out, especially after the wild card. But yeah, at least we'll end on a positive note. Our bets. before we forget
Yes.
the bets. We almost forgot the bets. Damn it.
The bets. We
So
forgot
we'll
about the
do,
bets, maybe.
we'll do this one real quick. So I made a one for tonight and then one for the Browns. The one that I had for tonight was a Ferguson anytime score, a CD Lamb anytime score, and a Wendell Robinson anytime score tonight. And that was with a 50% profit boost. And that has I think it's a 31.62 plus on that one, so pretty solid.
For mine, let me get to my good old fashioned FanDuel account for everyone. Yeah, so for me, my bet for tonight, and it's well on its way to doing numbers because I did two bets for tonight, and
I
the
did
first
3. I
so
did a few.
my first bet it was Malik Neighbors 50 plus receiving yards and CD Lamb 50 plus receiving yards. Both of that's already hit. Then I had Jake Ferguson 25 plus receiving yards, and then Devin Singletary to get 2 catches, plus 217. Putting down a couple bucks will win you like $7-8.
Yeah.
And then I made a bigger one. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 leg parlay where $2 will win me $31. And again, it's added on to what I had with the Malik Neighbors, the CD Lamb, Jake Ferguson, and Devin Singletary. And it's Daniel Jones 150 plus passing yards. He's at 142 right now, so he's about to hit that. Dak Prescott already hit his over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Jake Ferguson, obviously, the 25 receiving yards. He's at 19. Singletary, 2 receptions. Jalen Tolbert just got his second reception because he was at 1 before I was about to say his name. So Jalen Tolbert, 2 receptions. And then Wayndale Robinson, 25 plus yards. And he's already almost at 50. Yeah. So I just need Ferguson to get another couple catches for another couple more yards. I need Devin Singletary to get one more catch, and then that bet will hit, and I'll have $2 into $31.
Hell yeah. And then for my Browns bet, I have 2 bets, but I will just share the small one. I have an anytime touchdown score for Amari Cooper and Watson. We won, the game against Jacksonville because he was able to use his legs. I know we keep hearing about, him not wanting to use his legs. He's going to probably have to against this Raiders team. So that has a 13.33 plus $10 will get you about $143. And I have another one that's a 6-legger that's a little bit more doable. It's just a Jerry Jeudy anytime score, Cooper anytime score, Brock Bowers anytime score, Minshew for 225 plus passing yards, Watson plus 200, and then Watson over 40.5 passing yards in the first quarter. That $15 bet that I have on that is going to win me $1,800. So very different stance. I have a few more bets for tonight's game that are like I have a 6-legger that's doing all right, and then I have a 10-leg parlay that's a little more doable. I just need Jones to start throwing some passing scores and not just have to settle for field goals. But other than that, everything else on this should hit. Malik Neighbors already has almost 60 yards. CD Lamb almost has 100, and I said he was going to go over for 100 plus. So, yeah. Again, as we say, when it comes to betting, just bet smart. Don't bet with a lot of money. And use profit boost, too, man.
Yeah.
Or even your, I have one that's a no sweat, and that's why I have it a little more risky for that, just because it's a no sweat. So, screw it.
Then my Browns bet, it's a plus 289. $5 will win you $15, almost exactly. So a nice chance to double your money with this bet. Amari Cooper, 40 plus receiving yards. Jerry Jeudy, again, another 3 plus receptions like I had last week. Brock Bowers, 4 plus receptions because I think Gardner Minshew is going to utilize the hell out of Brock Bowers in this offense.
Oh, yeah, he loves him.
And then I went with Deshaun Watson, alternate passing yards, 175 plus passing yards. Because again, I don't think I've seen Deshaun Watson under 175. Besides game one, he had 170. But other than that, he's been at 180 and 195 or 195. Yeah, because if Tillman would have caught the football, he would have had over 200. But again, plus 289, 2 plus 290 will win you. If you put $5, will win you 15. So just something simple, easy. Like I said, very, very doable. Probably insanely doable. And again, it's just a nice, clean little bet that'll just help double your money. And like Zach said, these are just best for you guys to bet smarter and not, bet like an idiot.
Hell yeah. So, all right, yeah. We have our bets. It's about to be halftime for this Thursday night game, so we'll see what ends up happening for our stuff. If we win anything, obviously we'll share it on the pod, and we might even share it on Twitter. And then also we're trying to get more involved in TikTok. I'm doing a interview tomorrow for a job, and if I get that, I will have a lot more time to also help Andrew with that. But he did post one, so if you guys want to follow the TikTok page, I will obviously put it in the description. It was just a little, like 3 or 4 picture one with Guardians, obviously having to clinch the division. So, we'll try to post stuff like that and even post our own individual stuff for that. But yeah.
Also, if you guys want us to, we can also post our bets on the TikTok as well and just kind of describe why we made the bet. Kind of like a quick minute long video of our bets and what we betted on for the Browns, and the Thursday night, the Monday night games. And if we do any college betting too, because obviously college, and I know in the state of Ohio for college bets, you can't do player props anymore. They took that away from us this year.
Sucks.
I know a few other states have done the same thing, but other than that, the rest of the country, you can bet on player props. Yeah. But as of right now for Ohio, and I believe it's Ohio, Pennsylvania, you can't bet on player props anymore for college football because I was killing it too much, and that's probably why they did it. Because Marvin Harrison for 100 plus yards every game was fucking smashing every time. But but no, so I've been doing a lot of spreads and money lines and stuff like that, and alternate spreads and stuff. So, and I've been actually doing really well in college football, more than I actually have in the NFL. But if you guys want to say tomorrow, I could, or early Saturday before the games, or tomorrow night or early Saturday morning, we can make videos of our individual college football bets, the NFL bets, stuff like that, just so there's more content for you guys on the TikTok page as well.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, all right, guys, that is going to do it for us. We will see you guys next week, hopefully with a Browns win under our belt, and hopefully some bets under our belts too, as well. Hopefully it'll be a much better week. So we will see you guys next week. And as always, we're just BSing. Don't take